I do actually get called Cake Dennis every time I go to Red Bull because I always bring cakes.
I specifically asked Formula E Travel which flight is Jake Dennis on to make sure I'm not on it.
Look at the state of that.
I'm more nervous now than I was for London.
Hello and welcome to The Added Lap, a brand new YouTube show from Formula E, and it's like nothing you would have ever seen before. We have the wonderful Katy Fairman, Formula E Championship journalist, and of course host of the Small Talk podcast. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm so excited to be on the first episode.
It's exciting times. And joining us today, we have radio extraordinaire, the voice of motorsport on TalkSport, John Jackson. Thank you for joining us, mate.
Thank you for wearing the inverse of my clothing, much like the Jaguar cars.
I'm glad that we kind of deliberated on that beforehand, got it planned. Right, let's get stuck in and talk about this season that we've had so far, because there are definitely more than a few things that we can be talking about. I want to start off by talking about the classic line of Formula E, the unpredictability. 3 different winners in 3 races.
Yeah, also 7 different drivers on the podium in 3 races.
Madness.
Like, absolutely crazy. But yeah, we've had, like you say, the 3 different winners with Pascal, Jake, and also Nick Cassidy. Like, we'll talk about it later, but what a start to the season he's had at Jaguar. But yeah, fantastic racing and 2 amazing locations from him.
First big question of the show is coming to you, mate.
Right.
Is Pascal Wehrlein a contender for the title this season?
Can I give you the first big answer of the show?
Yes.
I don't think you can count him out.
Okay.
We saw last year that, he did incredibly well, kind of drifted away and then came back into it and then didn't work out for him. He's already done that now. In Diriyah, it didn't work out for him. So I think the next 2 races are going to be really key for Pascal Wehrlein to see whether he is in the mix.
Well, we are going to get into this a bit more later, though, because now it's time to fill what is an empty seat currently.
I wonder who it could be.
I wonder who it could be. We are very, very grateful and very lucky to be joined by reigning world champion Andretti driver Jake Dennis. Jake, join us. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the little setup we've got here.
Thank you. Very happy to be on for the first ever episode. It's really cool. I must admit, your intro was 10 out of 10. It would have taken me, honestly, 20 attempts. And I sat there in awe.
I'm going to straight away just address the elephant in the room. And that is because the sort of agreement with you coming on the show was that you'd bring a gift or something that we could make part of our set here. I'm not seeing the gift. What the hell's happened?
So I was meant to bring in my World Championship winning suit, which I wore in London, but unfortunately I left it in my car as I stepped onto the train. I was meant to bring my race suit and thought a very good substitution would be Lola's cupcakes. They are 10 out of 10 and I actually got you a special one.
Wow.
So you might recognise which one's yours. Let's see what. I decided to get Saunders a unicorn cupcake.
They look good though, don't they?
They do.
Is there a story here,
like.
Jake?
Yeah.
No, not really. He's just a unicorn. Look at him. He's just...
I do think that whenever you ring me, I think
he's very unique.
What a unique moment this will be in my life.
What's actually a little bit annoying about the fact you forgot your suit is that it did segue perfectly into the first thing we wanted to chat about, which was that moment in London when you became world champion.
I mean, feels like a distant memory now. I feel like I've done so much since then. But I mean, what a moment. Still, when I hear the footage or see the footage, it still gives me goosebumps. Incredible memories, and to share it with the team in front of my family, friends, London. Such success there in the past, and then to get the title there was, nothing comes close. And hopefully we can do it again this year. Obviously, London's the final race, which is awesome, and it just makes me strive to obviously try and replicate that.
Big celebrations?
Yeah, I mean, the after party I was quite tame. Like, I didn't want to, look like an idiot and get completely smashed. But, I beefed for afterwards and celebrating there. We did like a boat day, all that. We definitely celebrated to our absolute best. See a photo there.
I was going to say, we know exactly what you're up to, mate. Let's just have a look through these ridiculously photogenic photos. I mean, look, go back. Look at the state of that.
That's Orlando Bloom
that
vibes,
is not
isn't
any
it?
Lola cupcakes, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, you don't get that through eating Lola cupcakes. But, I mean, this was just after the season, so I was in really good shape. And, I didn't look like this about 4 weeks after the race, that's for sure.
We've set you up now on a pedestal. We've made you feel really good. And now we're going to talk about this season. Because although there obviously is a race win in there, around that, I mean, I'm just looking, you've had a P9, a P1, and then a P12. What would you put that down to?
Yeah, just no consistency over compared to last year. You know, we were in such good rhythm, and I mean, the first race we tried something on the software side. We ran sort of updated software compared to Porsche. They decided to take the old one. We took the new one, and it just didn't work. It just wasn't ready. So we went back to the old software for Diriyah. Won the first race, obviously by a good margin. I was like, okay, everything's mint again. We're back to normality, and then we got smacked in the face by, you know, the Formula E unpredictability, and woke up the next day and we were terrible.
Well, let's just talk about the win then in the second race of the season, the first in Diriyah. Did it feel? It certainly felt like to me that Jake was back. Did you get the same sentiment in that race?
I certainly thought you were back. It's weird saying it to your face, but I thought you were back. There was a moment that I've tried to remember, and I'm sure maybe there'll be a clip of it somewhere, of your team talking to you, and there was some stress going on. I think it was about energy, and you were so calm. You were incredibly chilled, and I was like, if he can be this chilled when everyone around him seems to be not flapping, but just concerned, then he must be back. But then obviously that second race happened, and it must be really hard to go into this kind of long extended break, having had that joyous moment, and 24 hours later having that complete confusion, and you're not back in that car for so long. That must weigh on your mind quite a lot.
Yeah, it does a bit. I think one thing I've learned over my Formula E career, and generally just my professional career, is each year I've been able to move on from the bad races quicker. Like last year, I had like 3 months where I didn't score any points, and it was tough. Like the morale in the team was so low. I wasn't feeling great. Honestly, like being champion helps with that as well. Like knowing that I can be champion, I can win races, I can do everything. And whereas before that, you're always not doubting yourself, because you always believe you can do it, but having a world title underneath you and having like race wins, you can just move on from bad races so quickly. Whereas in my first year with BMW, when I was having quite a lot of bad races, it was like, I need to perform. Whereas now, like I left Saudi race 2, and the team know I can drive. Like they know they didn't deliver a good car for me or Norman. Whereas, you know, if I didn't have race wins, I didn't have that world title. There's always that, is it Jake type thing. Whereas now there's just none of that, and we can have full transparency.
That's super interesting, because I would always have imagined that when you go into a championship as a reigning champion, then there's almost like added pressure. But
it's the complete opposite, man. Like for me, it's the complete opposite. Like I obviously want to win races and achieve what I achieved last year, but just having that mentality of, you know, the number one on my car, just you are champion. Like it just takes. I walk into the paddock each day like with so much less pressure.
There's only one driver ever to have retained a Formula E title. Yeah, Jev, of course. Well, while we're talking about it now, do you back yourself for it?
I do, yeah. I back me, Porsche, Andretti to try and replicate it. You know, losing Rome, even though I did really well there, actually does help us, because that track is just designed for the the Jaguar powertrain, and London is designed for the Jag powertrain. So, whereas these faster circuits generally suit us a little bit more. So having like Mazzano, Portland should lean a little bit more into our strengths and less of the Jaguars, you know, traction benefits they have. So I'd say the calendar's a little bit more level this year. I mean, but obviously, like you guys were speaking about earlier, Nick's had an incredible start to the season. He's looking really strong, even at Saudi, which is still fast and flowing. There's only like 2 or 3 traction zones. So it seems like they've obviously improved their weaknesses. We've improved ours a little bit. And I think the biggest shock for us is really McLaren and Nissan. Like Jake Hughes' efficiency in race 2 was seriously impressive. And that's where they struggled last year. There was no question about how quick that car was over qualifying. The Nissan and the McLaren, it was one of the quickest. But to see the McLaren's efficiency in race 2 was really, really impressive. And I wouldn't say worrying, but like they are seriously contenders for races where it's going to be a little bit more energy limited, like Brazil.
Before we move on, I just want to contextualise where we are now in terms of the season compared to last year. And we talked about only one driver has been on more than one podium, that'd be Nick Cassidy. This time last year, you've been on all of them. Mm-hmm. Pascal been on 2 of them.
Yeah.
So we are in a very different start to the season from this time last year.
Yeah, we certainly are. I think that's what makes Formula E so great. You know, you've had 7 different podium people. Like that's great to see. You know, that's what the fans want to see. Not everyone's cheering for a Jake Dennis or a Nick Cassidy. People are cheering for all kinds of drivers. So to have that variety is great. Obviously, yeah, I would like to be on the podium more. We're all racing drivers. I'd like to win all the races, but ultimately no one wants what's happening in Formula One, where it's just Max Verstappen dominance. We've seen the numbers on TV, like how little viewers they have compared to what they had in 2021 and even 2022, whereas Formula E just never has that. We just have big variance all the time, and there's not many championships which haven't gone down to the final race out of the 9 seasons.
Let's talk about that actually to begin with. Just in terms of that reference to the Max and Red Bull, did everyone see that clip that CEO Jeff Dodds put out?
I did.
Pretty big claim.
It's a big claim.
Bold.
I mean, I rate it, but I know how good that car is. I work with it.
You have insider knowledge. You're like,
So I think he's pretty safe for sure. I think I'd put on that wager as well.
Now, in terms of characteristics, as you as a driver, there are things on track that we of course know about. But one off the track, which has literally become part of your identity, is this Jake Dennis struggles.
Oh, I love this account so much.
It's actually amazing. I don't understand.
Today already.
Yeah, we know. Let's get
Yeah,
into that.
that's my own struggle.
But
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard of anyone that has as many struggles as you when it comes to, at least just let's to begin with, getting to races. Why is that?
I don't even know. I used to be so sound before I joined Formula E. And then the past 3 years for me, it's just been an absolute disaster in terms of delayed flights, even my taxi driver crashing in India and then getting out and almost having a fight.
Let's have a look through some of them. Let's go back to the start of this little slideshow. Here we go. So, you've got a flight being cancelled here, another cancelled flight. You've got your luggage being in a completely different continent.
That's solid.
To where you are.
Yep.
More delayed flights.
I specifically asked Formula E Travel which flight is Jake Dennis on to make sure I'm not on it. Do people refuse to pick you up from the airport because they know that you'll just be wasting their time?
Yes, absolutely. I just have the plane to myself now because everyone doesn't even bother getting on it.
That's one way to fly private for a fraction of the cost.
Your struggles, they stretch outside of the world of aviation.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at a few. I mean, this one, you mentioned earlier, this is gold. Can you talk us through it?
Honestly, so we were obviously in a taxi. Traffic was absolutely horrendous in India, and look at this guy. He is not happy. At this point, I'm starting to have a quick word with him, and he pops out straight to the car, trying to get a better view for you all guys. Front row.
He's actually squaring up to it.
He squares up to it, but then I stop videoing because they're at this for 5 minutes, and then he actually starts to push him and get hold of him by the shirt. But at this point, I couldn't get my phone back out in time, but they're properly squared up to each other and started pushing and shoving. And
this one,
right, guys, I got one for you.
Oh, this was bad.
Just went to Costa drive-through, paid for my coffee, drove off without my coffee. I'm now coffeeless driving down the motorway.
Coffeeless.
How on earth have I managed that?
That's amazing.
That is really bad. Oh,
this is when you
These are good.
Tried to order 3 is that fabric softener? What is that?
It's the smell for the carpets.
Carpet cleaner.
That stuff smells really good. Would recommend. I have 25 at home left.
What are you doing to your carpets that you ordered so much?
Well, just the sprinkle ones, and then it smells lemony in the house.
It's the dog. Blame the dog.
On Amazon.
Order on Amazon. I did think it was expensive. It was £35 for 3, and I was like, "Wow, it's good stuff." Ordered it, and 35 rocked up or something like that. So
super.
Yeah,
this does remind me of the time where I accidentally bought 94 rolls of toilet paper.
Oh my
You
god!
look like you had a really bad night.
that was after India.
No, this is one more now we've got, which is
this is good.
Just genius. Let's play this.
I'm sorry, but this is just too funny not to share with you guys. Don't do what I did, kids.
What did you do?
So
How
basically,
are your carpets so perfect and then you use your dishwasher like that?
But this was in Dubai.
The dishes are clean, so it worked. I just lost
So
a towel
simple.
in the making.
Yeah. So basically, I was in Dubai for a month. I just went out there. I didn't have much on, so I flew out to Dubai for a month and stayed in an Airbnb. And I couldn't be bothered to go down and buy some washing up tablets. So I just used Fairy Up liquid and thought that'll work. But and people do it, but you just need a smidge. I did look at the bottle. I did a quarter of the bottle, which was way too much. And I was just watching TV at the time, and I turned around and it was getting quite bad. So I obviously had to turn it off and stuff. But I honestly think if I left the house and come back, the whole floor.
It'd be a phone party.
Literally my own personal phone party.
It'd be Oceana circa 2017.
And next up on the show, you've got a
Flashbacks.
bottle of Pepsi and a couple of Mentos, haven't you? So recreate it with Jake. Yeah.
The entertainment you provide both on and off the track is incredible, and also fair play, credit to Jake Dennis Struggles, the Twitter account,
Honestly,
the X account.
she's an Italian lady, and she understands English banter so well, better than I do. She's so witty and funny, and 5-star rating for the account.
And talking of fans of yours, we have actually got some Q&As.
Yes.
We've got some Qs, hopefully for your A's. The first question was, what would be your dream location for a Formula E race?
For me, I would love to race in Australia. I think would be a big task with Formula E to obviously get us there, but that is just one of my favourite locations I've ever been. I did Bathurst 12 hour there in GT one year or a few years, and Sydney is just absolutely incredible. So putting the task out to Formula E to get us there by 2027 maybe. Let's make that a goal, 4 or 5 years to make it happen. That would be one of my favourites.
If you could race with anyone in motorsport, past or present, who would it be and why? I imagine they're probably thinking about either race against rather than
I
teammate.
think James Hunt. For me, was a bit of a legend. I didn't really have too many icons growing up, and didn't really follow motorsport all that much when I was younger. But after just seeing the way he was, his whole philosophy of racing was just very cool, and the film Rush was a nice one as well. So James Hunt. That era of racing, and him as my teammate would be pretty cool.
Not to mention the after parties.
I'd like to see Jake race Michael Andretti. Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like that could actually happen.
We can still make that now.
we can make that happen
in Portland.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Get me in an Indy car, the old school one. That'd be quite cool.
Okay, one more question. This is very much Tokyo related. Okay. They ask, who's your favourite Pokemon?
Charizard, was it? The dragon thing? He was pretty dope.
Solid Pokemon.
There's obviously Pikachu and stuff like that, but that flaming dragon thing. I've actually got, I've got one of those
Don't
gold
tell me you've got a
Charizard.
shiny Charizard Pokemon
Yeah, are those
card.
things expensive? Like, my mum has it somewhere, and it looks pretty
I think you need to
legit.
call your mum and get that insured.
Are they actually quite expensive?
Legit
I've absolutely
shiny
no idea.
Charizard.
But it sounds it.
But the front is very shiny, but then I can't
The back
remember
is the back's just a normal card.
Yeah. Is that still...
I think that's worth.
It was
a few
literally
bob, Jake.
it was behind a mug for 15 years at our old house, and I don't know where it is now. I think my mum's got it, who now lives in Cyprus, so it could be anywhere.
If you're watching, rough estimation of value, just get it in the comments, just so Jake knows.
Let me know.
I think what we should do before Tokyo is do Formula E drivers as Pokemon.
Yes, rate that. If anyone puts me as a mushroom or something, if there's a mushroom.
No, you're Hitman
Pokemon.
Chan, definitely Hitman Chan, obviously.
Who's
Look at
that?
the size of him, the
I
big
don't know
boxing
any
one.
Pokemon.
Okay.
But you could just because you're tall, basically.
Okay, I'll rate that.
Bit of an easy
I
cop
back
out
myself
for
in
me.
a boxing match against all the other drivers.
Oh, that wasn't even brought up, but fair
No,
play.
yeah. Well, we're going boxing route now, so
No one even
I'll say
asked.
that.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we should have done it in Saudi Arabia. That's kind of like the home of boxing now, isn't it? So,
It is, yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the next bit of the show now. It's going to get slightly competitive now.
Okay, here we
Because
go.
this is something we're going to do with every guest that
Oh,
comes
God.
on the show.
Right.
It is
do it.
a rapid trivia quiz based on yourself.
Oh,
Now, I'm sure if you've
God.
watched things like Top Gear, you'll be very familiar with the likes of a leaderboard. So, you're going to have 2 minutes on the clock.
okay.
I'm going to fire some questions at you, and then hopefully someone's going to shout the points that you get, because I'm not going to take notes.
Okay.
I'm going to ask
All right,
questions.
here we go then. That's
Okay,
fine.
are you ready, Jake Dennis?
I'm more nervous now than I was for London.
Rapid Jake Dennis trivia quiz starting in 3, 2, 1, go. What's your total number of podiums?
16.
Incorrect, 18. Name 5 of your fastest lap locations.
Mexico, Rome, Mexico again. Can I do that?
No.
Okay.
You've got 9 to choose from.
Portland, London.
Yes. No to Portland.
Oh, Christ. I'm just trying to think of races now. Where did I race last year?
You can pass because you've got more questions to get through.
Yeah, I'll pass.
Okay, right. How many of your fastest laps did you go on to win?
How many races have I won? How many races have I won? 5?
Only 3 that you've got the fastest lap as well out of them. Name 5 former Andretti drivers.
Dak, Robin, Gunther, Askew, Andre.
Yeah, there's been loads as well.
Yeah.
Total appearances in the duels.
Oh my God.
Only one driver's got more than you.
Ooh, go on. 18.
21. Stoffel's got 22. Total race wins.
5. Really?
6. How many times have you got to the final of the duels?
God, these are hard.
45 seconds to go.
9.
Correct. How many wins from pole position?
3.
Correct. Total number of races in Formula E?
51.
Is it 50 or 51?
No.
You just did your 50th,
Yeah.
didn't you? Okay.
That's half a point.
Total number of points in Formula E? 20 seconds to go.
467.
Close. 474. Most podiums in a season? 10 seconds.
Most podium 11.
Correct. Longest podium streak?
5.
8. Come on, it's last year, man. Most poles in a
8 in a
season?
row?
8 in a row.
Wow, that's good.
8 in the last. Most poles in one
7.
season. That's it. Time's up.
I didn't have 7 podium.
You had
11.
8 in a row. You had 8 in the last 9 races.
No, I didn't.
You only missed one. You
No,
did.
I didn't.
You did, mate. Trust me. I'm the stat man. I know what the stat is because I've said it loads. And it's in the last 9 races, you got
I
8
had 8.
podiums.
Yes.
But they weren't consecutive.
No, they weren't. So times 2.
Give him an extra point.
1.
Give him one extra point.
Jake, I feel we need to replay a clip from about a minute ago where he went, "Don't question the stat man. I'm the stat man." We need to play that back in just so that we can prove that you
That
just
is
questioned him and you
I
were right.
deserve more
That
than
is
1
embarrassing.
point.
Well, let's see what the total number of points you did get. 5 points. So let's get that on the board.
Plus.
Are we giving him one extra?
Absolutely.
Wasn't there a half point in there somewhere as well?
Just
Yeah,
I
no.
didn't write the questions. Just to say.
I deserve at least 2 bonus points for that.
Did you hear that? The stat man doesn't write his own questions. What?
Go 5.
What is this? The going up on Saunders podcast?
I'm not going to gang up on Jake. He's the world champion.
I think at least 6.
You got 4 points, and we're going to give you one extra because of the statistical
and then
error.
one for being the first guest, and then
What is
And
this?
minus
And
1
then
for
minus-
forgetting your
yeah.
racing.
yeah. But Lola's
Oh, that's
cupcakes.
true.
I bought 4 cupcakes, so that's 4 points.
We're giving you
We're
5.
basically at like 25, guys. We're fine.
We're giving you 5. There you are.
That's
Awful
actually really
handwriting.
bad.
Now this is now up to you.
5 points.
Next guest to beat that score.
Are they going to ask the same questions?
Not about you.
Yeah.
It's not the Jake Dennis show.
How many podiums did Jake Dennis have in a row?
no, not about me. I didn't mean that.
Let's move on to this next segment, which is actually really good to have a driver here to talk about because one of the things that is so good about Formula E is the team radio.
Yeah.
We are gifted with some hilarious clips, some emotional clips, and also some pretty poignant ones in terms of where people are in their championship. We've picked out a few to go through, and we'll all talk about them. Let's go with this first one, which is some weird coding, let's say, from Sebastian Buemi.
Let's banana for Robin. Just half a second, not much.
Okay. How big the banana? How big banana?
Half a second, only half a second.
Massive.
So I mean, that's a good example of some of the fun code words that you guys
What's
have.
funny is obviously the teams try and think of these amazing ideas, right? So the teams don't figure out what's going on. But like, I mean, I've never seen that clip before, but I already know what it's about. It's about the
Okay.
attack mode for Robin. So even just a one-time use. So we try and come up with these funky code words, but just listen to it, then you already know what it is. So you may as well just call it slow down for Robin for attack mode this lap because he's going to take it.
Someone at Envision just wanted Seb to be able to say how big the banana.
Really,
Hey, look, it's giving us a cheap laugh.
Yeah.
This is a slightly more sentimental. This one. This was Sam Bird in Diriyah. Let's play this one.
Yes, come on!
Sam, it's in beautiful drive, mate. Well managed throughout. Very, very well done indeed. Proud of you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you for having faith in me. You and Zach in what was my dark star. Thank you. Hope I repay you more often, mate. Cheers.
Now that's lovely, isn't it?
It is lovely. Anyway, it's great to see Sam like back in spirits. But one thing Sam always does, he'll get so buzzed about an overtake, even if it's a P16. He'll be like, "Yes, come on!" And I'm like, "Mate, I'm still not in the points." Not to be harsh to him, because I love Sam. Sam's had a really strong start to the season, and I think he's brought genuine gains to the McLaren package from obviously his knowledge from Jaguar and stuff. So yeah, he had a really good Diriyah. Shame he obviously hit the wall in race 2, but yeah, his pace seems really strong at the moment.
Considering what happened to Sam last season, you've got to dig deep, haven't you, to come back fighting?
Yeah. It's hard as well. You know, obviously Mitch is one of the hardest guys to race against in terms of being your teammate. He's so incredibly talented and fast, and then obviously when you're having bad times, it's easy to get into that dark place and not back yourself and stuff like that. And that's sort of what happened, and a fresh start for Sam is exactly what he needs. And it's great to see, even just round the paddock, he seems much happier. Last year he was like, half himself, and it wasn't a nice thing to see, because Sam's such a nice guy, and to see him back in high spirits is great inside the paddock.
Sao Paulo, Brazil, is the next race. How are you feeling about that? Because, you mentioned it earlier. That circuit, the Jags like it.
Yeah, they get off the corner incredibly well. The good thing is we've had the energy numbers come through, and we should have a lot of lift and coasting, which means there'll be plenty of overtaking, which is what we all want. The first 3 races have been pretty fast, which means it's hard to overtake at. There's no denying that. Whereas now, hopefully for the next sort of 4 or 5 races, we should be a bit more Formula E style, which is nice. But yeah, ultimately qualifying into the duels for us will be tough. I'm confident we can do it. Dak got into the duels last year and qualified like 4th or 5th, something like that. So, but it's going to be challenging. The Jags are fast.
Well, also looking forward past Brazil, we have, of course, a new location this season in Tokyo, Japan. I mean, everyone is absolutely buzzing for that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm buzzing. Buzzing like an old fridge. I can't wait, to be honest. It's going to be an incredible circuit. I actually drove on the simulator last week. And,
tell us more.
Yeah, it's tight, twisty, bumpy. There's like third to last corners, like a blind left over a jump and then into a downhill chicane, which will be fun to watch on TV. I don't know for the driver's spines, but that's going to be challenging. But yeah, really fast corners, really tight corners. It's a little bit like Rome, honestly.
There's one last thing we want to do with you before you go. Oh, the Wheel of Destiny.
Okay.
Formula E Destiny. And this is something that you're going to spin, and whatever you land on is something you need to do in the next race. Magic word is we're going to pick a word that you have to get into a TV interview.
Okay.
And then we'll be listening carefully to see if you do that. Photobomb is, everyone's getting their photos taken in the pit lane by the professional photographers. You need to get in the back of as many of them as possible if you land on that. Pit lane, this is pit lane press up. This is you have to walk into the middle of the pit lane.
No way.
Not when it's active.
On.
And do some push-ups.
And there needs to be evidence.
All of this needs evidence. Yeah. Then we've got diva mode, personal favourite. Now,
okay.
But if you land on this, you need to be a diva to your team.
Oh,
not for the whole weekend.
Such a diva last year.
But it just one point where it's so ridiculous, like they almost wouldn't believe it. And then trick teammate. We're going to come up with, if you land on this one, we'll come up with an idea that you have to do to trick Norman. And the final one is sticker. Now we've got these Formula E stickers, which you need to put on the back of as many drivers as possible, and without them knowing.
I think if I get that's even better.
If you get me, you get double points.
Okay, 10.
Okay, do you want to have a spin of the wheel?
You got to give it a good wang.
What's that?
The anticipation is killing me. You have to do
trick teammate.
You got to trick your teammate.
You best come up with a good one.
Okay, we need to come up with a good one. It's actually good that we don't say it now because if Norman's watching, he'll know what you're doing.
That is very true.
We are going to come up with one, and you have to come back to the next show to find out what it was and whether Jake completed it or not. So there we go. That's your challenge. We've got one last thing for you. A little gift, a passing gift.
A cupcake.
We're going to give to you. It's not a cupcake.
Melted one.
It's something. It's not actually for you, but it's for someone that is very close to you.
Oh. Is it Billy?
It's a little gift for Billy.
No way, I was joking.
Official added lap bandanas for Jake's dog. There you go.
Look at that team mascot.
There's 2 of them there just for, Saturday and Sunday.
It's muddy at the moment where I live, so country life.
We would love to see some evidence of Billy wearing them.
Do we get Billy back for London? I think we
have
to.
Yeah. He needs his own pass again.
He will get his own pass. We need to make it so he can come on race day. Get him in the Porsche.
In the safety car next to Bruno.
Let's do it. He'd love that. Let's make it happen.
Maybe we could get another world record, fastest dog ever.
Yes, absolutely. Genius.
We'll try that out.
Fastest dog ever.
And he's officially marking the end of his involvement in this show. Thanks for your insight, mate, as always. Pleasure to have you. You've got your score on the board. This is for any new guests and or drivers to beat. Legend, mate. See you in Sao Paulo, and all the best for the rest of the season.
Thank you very much. See you in Sao Paulo.
Jake Dennis, out! Well, that was a pleasure having Jake Dennis in here for the episode 1 of The Added Lap. Now, before we go, there's one more thing I want to talk about, and it's just simply ones to watch.
I'm going to go for Sam Bird. I think he obviously ended up on the podium here last year in Sao Paulo, And he's showing a lot of promise in that McLaren. He seems to really have embedded himself well in the team. And looking at how many, he nearly won the ABB Driver of Progress on both occasions. Unfortunately, he had to retire in the second race in Diriyah, but I think he's on a good roll. So.
Solid shout. John?
I'm going to go for another driver that is replicated over there in plastic. Actually, the tallest of all the drivers. However, he's probably one of the shortest of the drivers on the grid, and that is Sasha Fenestraz.
Oh, yeah.
Assuming that is Sasha Fenestraz. From over here, I'm just guessing. 6th in the last race, and it's his second year in Formula E. And we've seen what the Nissan powertrain's doing, and I just think things are starting to click. And actually, if you want to see the most relaxed driver around the paddock, I feel Sasha is the most relaxed driver. He's always laughing, he's always joking. Oliver Rowland is a great teammate for him. He's shown what that car can do already and get a podium. I feel like a podium could be in store for Sasha in Sao Paulo, and then who knows in Japan. It's going to be an unknown for all of us, and that's what makes Formula E exciting.
Great shout. Now, it goes without saying that when we're saying ones to watch, we're talking about ones that may not have been on the podium yet. We know that Jake Dennis, Nick Cassidy, Buemi, Jev, everyone is going to be good, but we're thinking about who might surprise us. I'm going to chuck in there. Well, firstly, I would love to see Da Costa just bounce back, because I think he's in a bit of a tough place at the moment, and we know how capable he is of a driver, so that would be good to see. But I'm going to chuck the Mahindras in there. Ooh. Because I know qualifying pace hasn't been there, but looking at how many positions they've made up in the race, collectively they've made up more than anyone else. Like Nick De Vries has made up 14 over the first 3 races, and Edo 13. So that shows they've clearly got the race pace, which is something they didn't have last season. So I think, give it a bit of time, we could see a Mahindra back on the podium. So those are our ones to watch. But of course, we want to know what you think, both in the comments below of this show, but also on Formula E Predictor on the Formula E app, where you can have your say on things like fastest lap, pole position, race win, and all that stuff. So get on the Formula E app and have your vote in Formula E Predictor. But as for us, I think this is a nice way to round off and wrap up this first added lap show. Guys, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having us. Cupcake time?
Oh, yeah, definitely smash the rest of that cupcake.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's been an amazing first show, though. Really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Well done, Saunders.
Well, pleasure. Up next, Sao Paulo.